Are the Eagles really that bad? Are most fans just overreacting? I'm going to give you the opportunity to be totally honest, not with me, but with yourself. Lots of other Eagles news and notes, specifically communication. Trending in the AM, taking all your thoughts on the Eagles, Sixers, big win last night, and anything else you want to talk about. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter, as we are every morning. Please, first, before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this out, guys. You see all the buttons on your screen. Hit them, and let's go. We are getting so close to 1,000. So close. We're one away from 900. Let's go, guys. Hit those buttons. It means a lot. And, of course, vote on our poll question of the day. Should the Eagles bring back big play Darius Slay, who was waived by the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday? We're going to get into that. A lot of other things that could happen with the secondary upcoming here as we get set for Monday Night Football. But, guys, I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. Do me that favor. Like and subscribe and share. First and foremost, before we even get started, guys, I got lots to get into. Lots of comments from Duck spamming the chat early to make sure he gets that number one crown right from the get-go. Good morning. What is the harm in bringing back Slay to see if he has anything left in the tank? He has to be better than Jackson and Ringo. I have no idea what's going on with Bennett. Yeah, we're going to get into a lot with that because it makes far too much sense for the Eagles to bring back Darius Slay. There's another team that I think we will be in competition on the waiver wire for Darius Slay. I have a question. Why has Ty Robinson not played any real snaps? How much of a swing and miss that we are depleted in the area and we aren't playing a rookie? How much of a swing and a miss is the entire rookie class is the first question. Because let's be honest, last week against the Bears, not one player from the Eagles draft class suited up. Well, played an offense or defensive snap. John Campbell played special teams, and Drew McCuba's hurt. Nobody else even had a chance to play. How much of a swing and miss was the entire draft class would be my counter to that. But, yeah, Ty Robinson has obviously been a lot less of a developing player than we'd hoped. Now, offensive line depth is a mess because we don't have the depth that we have previously had. And now that I've seen the stats, Steen isn't the answer. Look, I was shocked when I saw the Steen stats that he is, fourth most pressures given up in the NFL. I really thought he was having a strong season, but obviously the numbers aren't there. Hurts has a problem, but I don't think it's a reported one. I don't think he trusts the play calling and the play calls in game. I don't think he has a problem with the installed plays during practice. We're going to get into Hard Knocks from last night and what we kind of learned about Jalen Hurts from Hard Knocks here when I get caught up here. For sure, Patullo is a problem that could have been mitigated in week 4. They should have gotten him a mentor consultant, get some training under him. The person who trained him now, we know is not good. Yes, because of Nick Sirianni. I get it. Nick Sirianni, not a good play caller, except that he might have other skill sets. Yeah, I get that, and I totally understand that. I wonder what we have to do to mitigate the A.J. Brown drama. I don't want to see him gone because he's such a talent, but his attitude and body language has gone beyond little things. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. We've talked about that this week. Could we win without A.J. Brown? He seems to loving the attention, even if it's a negative way. Absolutely. Bears, Packers, Rams, Seahawks, all better records than the Eagles. Absolutely, TMC. And we've beaten 2 of those teams. We're 2-1 against those 4 teams. Just remember that. Yeah, one away to start today from 900. Let's get to 900 today. Then we can start marching towards 1,000. Good morning, Little G. Hope you are good. Let's do it. Let's cross that 800 mark. Good morning, Elephant. Hope you are well today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that share button, guys. Only 4 regular season left. What? 4 games? There's 5 games left, right? Yeah, we've got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Commanders, twice, and the Bills. 5 regular season games left. Crowns are for kings. I'm just a guy. Gotcha. Good morning, Robert. How you doing this morning? Hope you're well. Should we bring back Slay from Freddie Defoe? What's up? Absolutely. We missed the boat on CJ, and it was regrettable. Do it. We did miss out on bringing CJ back. And I suggested bringing him back the second time. Don't miss out on Slay. Now, the thing with Darius Slay, there's a couple things with Darius Slay. And yes, Soldier Steve, that was a barrage of duck comments to start the show. I love it. It gives me something to get the juices flowing to start the show. The thing with Darius Slay is older. Darius Slay is not having a great season in Pittsburgh. Darius Slay, is who he is. But our secondary is also who it is. Is bringing in Darius Slay worth it? Adoree Jackson's been banged up and got a concussion issue. Nobody else can play that spot. You could do a lot worse than Darius Slay. Now, I think there's 2 teams. Darius Slay isn't going to want to go to just any team. He's not going to go to the Jets. He's not going to go to the Titans, right? There's 2 teams with an extreme need at cornerback that he's got familiarity with. Obviously, the Eagles, spent how many years here in a row. He's loved in this city. His wife is loved in this city. Let's get the banana pudding back. And Detroit, who just put Terry Arnold on IR for the rest of the season. And he obviously started his career in Detroit. Maybe that would be a full circle moment for him going back to Detroit. Now, I don't know where we and Detroit fall on the waiver wire, but they'd be the 2 teams I'd expect to put claims in on that he'd actually want to go play for. Yeah, I was awake and working some issues at work, so I figured, get it in when you can, right? Keep Brown happy. I mean, it's a challenge to keep A.J. Brown happy. Even if Slay comes in as a bench guy, he's a vet, and we know that I've heard a lot of people talk about the safety position with Darius Slay. I don't know why. Not sure if Darius Slay can play safety or not, but you are going to get some form of help at safety, at least in the Sidney Brown, portion of it, because Marcus Epps' practice window was activated yesterday, so he's going to be back in practice. We still have no idea why Marcus Epps was hurt. They haven't released that. We'll learn that on the first practice report, injury report tomorrow. So I'm assuming they're not practicing today with the Monday Night Football game. Everything tends to get backed up a spot. Marcus Epps, if he can go, will be starting ahead of Sidney Brown like that. So the secondary is going to get that help. And I don't understand the Darius Slay safety room. Don't think he ever played safety to my knowledge. But he could definitely be a guy that fills in if Adoree Jackson gets hurt, or he might be a guy that starts over Adoree Jackson instantly. Adoree Jackson's done well enough, all things considered, right? Done well enough considering his situation. But Slay probably, even though he's not been good, that whole Steelers team's a disaster anyway. Nobody wants to play there. No one wants to put effort in there. Aaron Rodgers has zapped the energy out of that. Bring Slay back. He will play better here and much better than we have. Yeah, maybe it was part of also going from Philly to Pittsburgh. Maybe they weren't using Slay the correct way. He will if he's claimed. He's got to go the waiver wire, so we don't have the first chance at him, so to speak. Stupid Steelers claimed Adam Thielen. Yes, that's correct. Let's get to 900. It would be a lot. Let's go. Let's hit that 900 mark today. It's just a vet presence in the secondary to get the kids leveled out. Yeah, and I have no problem with that. Can't hurt at all. What's up, Booch? The Booch is in the house. He knows the system. That's another key one. It's not like he's got to come in here and learn the defense and learn what Vic Fangio is going to ask of him. It makes sense. I finally picked up my glasses today. I haven't been able to see since mid-August. Well, that's good. It's good for you. That'll be helpful in your daily operations of life. We don't need an amazing quarterback. We need a cornerback that can give us average play. Let's be honest. Adoree Jackson has been average enough most of the year. Adoree Jackson hasn't performed terribly this year. Has he been great? No. Has he been good? Maybe. But he hasn't been awful. He's just now more like a Darius Slay in the fact that he's getting hurt a lot. He's had multiple concussions. He's missed a bunch of time in games lately. The other options after Adoree Jackson clearly can't play football. Like, I need to know the story of what happened to Jacorian Bennett this year. Even when healthy, he can't get on the field. Do a segment from a bar? Okay. Sure. Done. I mean, that takes work and time to figure it out. I want to shout out Fred. I see he is in the Heezy. What? You've been going 2 months squinting like exactly. Was Hard Knocks good? Well, that gets us into the Jalen Hurts conversation as well. And the poll question, we've got a couple no's on the should the Eagles bring back Darius Slay. Interesting. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing. How was Hard Knocks good? Hard Knocks. Oh, the bar in my basement? There's nothing in the bar in my basement. Was Hard Knocks insightful? Hard Knocks, first and foremost, episode 1, as expected, was a gigantic-ass promotional video hyping up the Dallas Cowboys. It was about an hour episode, and about 30 minutes of it was focused on Dallas beating the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs back-to-back weeks. Like, really, that was what it was. Let's hype up the Cowboys. Let's give America's team some press. Let's show them. And it worked perfectly, the fact that they won 2 games there. It made that first episode so great. And I haven't watched Hard Knocks in years. And I'm only watching it because the Eagles are in it. And it's good content. But, man, let me tell you something. That first episode was a slobber knocker all over the Cowboys. Now, on the Eagles portion of it, we got a little glimpse into Jalen Hurts, the leader. Jalen Hurts, the sideline guy. All the criticism that Jalen Hurts takes for being so quiet and stoic on the sideline. Guess what? He actually communicates with his teammates and coaches on the sideline during games. Oh, my God, he actually shows emotion on the sideline. Now, we wouldn't know that because the cameras would never show that. They just show the pictures like on loop of him just sitting there on the bench with the sourpuss look on his face. But go figure, your elite starting quarterback who is a leader actually leads on the sidelines. There's got to be so many pissed off people that didn't realize that Jalen Hurts actually cares and takes self-accountability regularly. Yeah, it's been horrible. Insurance companies set me in circles. Oh, geez, that sucks. I want to see a Cheers lookalike by next week. Why? Are you paying for it? Tomorrow, Lions versus Cowboys. What is it? Like I tell you what they show during game day, they want the narrative to sell the clicks. It really is. And you saw and heard Jalen and Devontae going back and forth about the missed play. And how there was miscommunication, what they both expected to do. But then Jalen said, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing, Devontae. It was on me. 100% my fault. Totally took the blame for the fumble. No excuses. Do you think Slay would be that much of an upgrade over Adoree? Kevin, I said it a few seconds ago. Maybe you're just jumping in now. Adoree has not been bad. My problem is what's behind Adoree. Adoree. Why did I say Adoree? Adoree. Okay? Adoree's been getting banged up a lot more. He's got multiple concussions this year. I think he's holding on by a thread. And if you lose Adoree, then we're still stuck with Keeley and Mac McWilliams, who can't get on the field, and Jacorian Bennett, who hasn't sniffed the field. Slay would be a better upgrade on the depth of the secondary, is the way I would look at it. Doesn't necessarily have to start over Adoree. Do you think it would be worse? It might not be worse. Look, again, Darius Slay has not been good. I never told you. You guys never guessed. I never said I was going to. No, I was not, Leo, okay? So it would be more depth. I think it would be depth, okay? Maybe he would push Adoree off to the side. Look, again, if Kevin, if you look at the numbers and the reports, Darius Slay is one of the worst graded outside corners in football this year. He has not been good. The last I looked, it was a couple weeks ago, the quarterback rating he has given up to opposing quarterbacks this year is like 104 or 105 quarterback rating when you throw his way, so he's not been good. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr., who hadn't played in over a year, within 1 week, convinced the Steelers to waive Darius Slay. So that tells you where Darius Slay is. Darius Slay is not who he used to be, but he's better than what we got in that depth department of the secondary. We still haven't figured the second star he was getting when he was younger. It's really tough to watch this past week. Missing the shallow mesh and the deep double dig plays without any pressure is not good. Wide receivers would have every right to be angry this week. Look, and we learned last night about how much more accountability Jalen Hurts really does take for the mistakes. And look, you want to, missing of these routes and stuff. It's also the predictability of these routes. So I read this. I forget which reporter put this out there. The Eagles have the highest hitch route rate this year, the lowest cross route rate, bottom 5 in pre-snap motion, bottom 2, second least play action passes in the league this year. There's still so much wrong with the offensive game plan, with the routes being called, with the way the offense is being run. And again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. I'd be shocked if Kevin Patullo is actually still calling plays by Monday night. I think they are making a change, and for competitive advantage, just not telling us. I really do. Will that make a difference? Probably not. Actually, it might make things worse. I'm guessing Phil looked more like a D-bag when he was younger. What? Why would you think I'd look like a D-bag? All right. So the person I was called, often referred to, is he a D-bag actually? We'll give you I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Nah, all right. Tom Green. I was told I looked a lot like Tom Green when I had shaggier hair and I used to wear a beanie on my head all the time. I got a lot of Tom Green called. Tom Green and Brendan Fraser. Most of the Hurts missed this throw. Takes are bogus, but this week Hurts missed a ton. There's no doubt that Jalen Hurts had his worst game of the season on Black Friday. It is, without a doubt, his worst game of the year, for sure. I don't know that any quarterback at this level doesn't take accountability and he communicates with his team. Well, that would be Aaron Rodgers doesn't take accountability. Aaron Rodgers throws everybody under the bus because Aaron Rodgers is a D-bag. Tom Green was a D-bag. He made a success out of no talent whatsoever. Good morning, Suzanne. How you doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic morning. There are some budding variations off our bread and butter, but it's just not enough right now. We're not playing well enough to keep it simple. Yeah, I agree. There's so much different about this offense from last year. Not just the one player missing. And if Kevin Patullo had any idea of what he was doing, he'd be able to fix some of this stuff. Now I have a second. What those two look nothing alike. I know, but multiple times. I also changed my appearance a lot throughout life. Facial hair, short hair, long hair. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Oh, man. Anyway, let's stay focused. We're not even at the 25-minute mark of today's show. We can't go off the rails this early. We got to stay focused on the Eagles and the Sixers, who had a nice win without Joel Embiid in the lineup last night. Against an easy team, they should have no problem. We're up to 10 likes on the video, even though 19 votes on the poll, guys. So make sure you're hitting those buttons that are in front of you. So everything that put on more is actually Patullo. I'm sorry, what? Two different types of players, but man, Maxey is having that AI impact. I ask it a lot, and I really haven't gotten a firm answer that I like on it. If you take Tyrese Maxey, what he's doing right now, and add him to that 2019 Sixers team and take Ben Simmons off that team. So your starting lineup instead would be Maxey, Redick, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, and a younger, healthier Joel Embiid. Damn, that team wins an NBA title. Because Ben Simmons held that team back. Tyrese Maxey isn't becoming a superstar. He is a superstar. He needs to be talked about in those MVP conversations. Already 20 games or whatever. How many games into the season are we for the Sixers? 20 games into the season. I knew it was right around 20. It is exactly 20. Becoming a star. The plays they tend to call Patullo's hitches and curls more than more. It's very, when you run the highest route rate of one concept and the lowest of another in the league, it's a problem. I understand the O-line has not been healthy all season, but when do we start putting some blame on Stoutland? Jess, you're not wrong. We talked about that. Was it last week or early this week? We talked about it. And he lost his top assistant to the Saints, TJ Pagnotti, went to be the O-line coach there with the Saints. So maybe that has something to do with it. But Jeff Stoutland has not done what he's used to doing, or what we're used to expecting him doing this year. The offensive line has not been good. He has not found a way to pivot off of the health issues. He's not found a way to give his guys help. Okay? And it can't just be, letting Mekhi Becton go, probably the wrong decision. But just bringing Mekhi Becton in right now wouldn't automatically make things better. These guys have been hurt and banged up all year. You work towards finding ways to cover that up with protection, with play action, with a jumbo packages, with a fullback out there, with an extra tight end. And then Stoutland should be communicating with Patullo. Look, this is what's wrong with our team on the offensive line. Can you call these types of plays to take some of the pressure off the O-line? And that's not happening. So, Stoutland is not working well with Patullo this year. So Embiid is not needed, and we are playing him just to sell him. I think the Sixers are better without Joel Embiid. I really do. And it breaks my heart to say it. The problem is multifaceted. Even when there is no pressure, there are now instances where obvious throws are being missed. I really respect Dotson for not saying a word. That's not easy. Yeah, look, Jalen Hurts has not been good this year. He's missed more throws this year than he has in his entire career, probably. Some of it's on him. Some of it's on the routes. Some of it's on the wide receiver. Some of it's on miscommunications. It's not been pretty. But we're still 8-4. We still have 5 games left. 3 wins guarantees us the division. MLB winter meetings start this weekend. It has me nervous. Phillies cannot afford to miss this offseason. Can't afford another Kepler-Romano offseason. Yeah, look, the Phillies have a big weekend, or next week in the winter meetings. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle Schwarber signs his deal with Philly or whoever very early next week. I think that's a very strong possibility. The Phillies are going to be active, but will they actually succeed and get what they want done? I don't know. It'll be very interesting. I really hope they get JT done and something else done next week. Every year the scale tips closer to a rebuild. It does. Conspiracy inbound. Marriage kills quarterbacks this season after marriage. Allen and Hurts get married before the season. Maybe. I don't know about that, but maybe. And Josh Allen. No one's calling for Josh Allen's career in Buffalo. Buffalo stinks this year by their standards. They're not locking up that division. But no one's calling for him. That's the difference between this city. And I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. Aaron Rodgers got married. Are we sure that Aaron Rodgers got married? Because we don't know anything about Aaron Rodgers other than that he's an asshole. Joe is now a second and third quarter change of pace player. That breaks my heart to even read that out loud. No conspiracy there. No, I'm a happily married man, so I haven't seen proof of it, but he said he did. Yeah, exactly. I love it and I hate it. The city loves to criticize and crush Jalen Hurts because of how good it is for ratings. You had that nitwit, that idiot, that asswipe, Spike Eskimo, or whatever his name is. I don't have a good nickname for him yet. Out there comparing Jalen Hurts to Ben Simmons, saying that they're the same person on his radio show. Is there a worse comparison of all time than saying Ben Simmons and Jalen Hurts are the same? Is there a more blatant, obvious, click, rage bait comment than that? And it pisses me off. It really does. It's not about being happily married. It might be time being split. Oh. I can speak from experience that marriages will ruin you. You just celebrate your anniversary this weekend. And that, friends, is why I don't let. Exactly. Me too. I don't even follow these stations. But because everybody else shares it out, I see it all the time, Freddie. And it's just nonsense. But that's the problem. Everyone wants to criticize Jalen Hurts all the time. And I get it. I understand. It's a cool thing to do. I don't. The only time I ever turn the radio on is if I'm in the car and in a ball game. I want to listen to a game instead of music on the radio. That's it. How are they even the same? Hurts shows up and plays. He plays Hurts. Exactly. Because they both come up small, I guess. I don't know. I guess Mr. Spiky is ignoring the Super Bowl MVP. There's no reason to listen to it when that's the nonsense. If Paul George is drafted in 2010, do we make the Eastern Conference Finals in 12? We have 3 great two-way starters and a 2 six-man of the year in Lou Williams and Thaddeus Young. I don't know. That's going way too far back for me to think. I was only willing to go back to 2019 with my what if. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. What did you want? You want me to text her and tell her you wanted to do something different? I don't have her number, but I'm sure I can find it. That's funny. Anyway. I'm not as surprised after watching Hard Knocks. I'm not as surprised as others will be. I don't think it's as big of a deal as others do that Jalen Hurts actually leads and communicates on the sideline. It doesn't shock me. It doesn't do anything for me. But at least we got that out of Hard Knocks last night. At least we got some reaffirmation that Jalen Hurts actually does quarterback things on the sideline. What are we doing here? You knew what you were getting into. That's just life. Hey, I'm perfectly happy. That girl Spike gets on my nerves. Yeah, exactly. How about Spike? Ah, there you go. I love that. That's worth writing down. You're not on Twitter. I might steal that. I am 100% stealing that one. All right. What's up, Bruce? How you doing this morning? Juice. It's very accurate. It's a very accurate statement. I don't know that. I don't know. I'm perfectly content. Asked my wife what she wanted to do for our anniversary this year. She said, I want to go to a place I've never been. I told her, try the kitchen. Benny Youngman, right? Yeah. I said, try the kitchen. I take her places she finds her way home. I love it. Classic humor right there. Score predictions for Eagles and Chargers. Oh, my God, it's way too soon for me to give out a score prediction. I don't know who's playing and who's not. We don't know enough about Justin Herbert's broken hand yet. I mean, if you have a prediction, great, I'll take it. But I can't be making my prediction just yet. It's way too soon for me. But it is a tough game on the road in L.A., Monday Night Football. Chargers are a good football team, fighting for their playoff lives as well. This is the first game, maybe this entire season, that I say it's a must-win game for the Eagles because they've got to silence the critics. They got to get themselves out of this rut. They need a win this week so they can build upon it next week against the Raiders so they can get some momentum going. This is as much of a must-win game for the Eagles as it has all year. And they better be locked in this week. It's classic. It's classic. I have a great day every day, Bruce. Every day is a beautiful day. Take my offensive coordinator, please. I take him places, and he finds his way out. The Eagles are going to take him to L.A. this weekend and hope he doesn't make his way back. Oh, man. Somebody, I saw the Flyers put somebody on their injured list for like the next 2 to 3 months. I did an event with Spike a few years ago. Total douche. It was the same day Jimmy Butler came to Philly, ran out like a surgeon, called in. He's totally a daddy's boy. That's the definition of Nepo buddy right there. Way too soon, especially when we don't know Justin's status. Yeah, exactly. Without knowing Herbert's playing or not, we just don't know. It's his non-throwing hand, so he could play if they brace it up the right way, I guess. We'll see. I feel we are in big trouble. We are in trouble if we lose the game, for sure, Bruce. I hope that's the case. Look, losing Foster for an extended period of time would be brutal. We're all caught up on comments. Okay. This is the earliest in a show I've been caught up on comments in a while. What's up, morning, Warfighter? How you doing today? Hope you are well. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. The snowstorm of the century blew through Philly yesterday. Spike Guinness, Bronny James. I love it. I love it. The Eagles. Oh, what's this? Bring back Slay. Again, I think the Eagles are going to make an attempt. Again, I don't know the waiver wire list at this point. I don't know where we are, and I don't know where Detroit is. I would assume Detroit would be interested in placing a claim. I think we're the best fit for him, but he is subject to waivers. We missed our chance with CJ. Somebody else said the same exact thing earlier. And I brought up, don't forget, Marcus Epps will be back, whether it's this week or next week. His practice window's been open. We still don't even know why he was hurt. Is that not crazy? The Eagles put a guy on IR, never announced why he was put on IR. It's really crazy. Now, one reporter got that information. It's pretty crazy. With Forrester, yeah. The sooner the Eagles collapse, the sooner we can get onto the Flyers hype train. Are you saying, woo? Look, I'm trying. I'm trying to pay attention to the Flyers. It's tough. It's tough for me. It really is. Given depth issues, Slay is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. As long as everybody understands who Darius Slay now is. At least who he is this year in Pittsburgh. One of the worst quarterbacks in football this year. Where Quinyon Mitchell, these stats, I got these stats on Quinyon Mitchell. Third in passer rating allowed. Third in passes defended. second in average target separation, second in tight windows forced, first in catch rate allowed. Where Quinyon Mitchell is having arguably the greatest cornerback season of all cornerbacks this year, Darius Slay was having one of the worst. No longer Kenny Gainwell. You've moved on to Zegras. Gotcha. If we have succumbed to putting faith in the Flyers, then we are cooked. Look, the Flyers are fun to watch again. I haven't gotten all my love of the Flyers back, Warfighter. I haven't gone all in and started watching entire hockey games, but I put them on for a period here or there. I've watched a couple games straight through, like kind of casually. I'm trying to regain that love that I used to have for the Flyers. I really am trying. All right? It's a process for me. It really is. My wife's getting a little tired of sports watching. So I got to pick and choose what sports I watch. I've got to give her enough time with movies and TV shows. Well, Tank Bigsby can't sniff the field, so what can I do? Look, and that's a big issue. That's a big, big issue. How can this guy not get on the field? How can you see the ineffectiveness of Saquon in this offensive line, see that you had something in Tank 3-4 weeks ago, and then not use him again? It really, really boggles the mind on the communication, on the coaching, on what their film study is showing them. What do you think is going on with Ja'Cory Bennett? When will he get a chance? That's the million-dollar question. I had high hopes for Ja'Cory Bennett. Now, there's a couple of Raiders fans on Twitter that follow me, and they told me not to expect much from Ja'Cory Bennett because he's always hurt and can't stay on the field. Well, he's been hurt a little bit this year, but when not, he still can't. And anytime you hear Vic Fangio say, something about him, he's like, I don't know. So what's he doing in practice that's so bad? Ja'Cory Bennett just might be another swing and miss from Howie Roseman. And again, I'm not hating on Howie Roseman. I'm just pointing out a fact that Howie Roseman had a lot of swing and misses this year. Well, since the end of the Super Bowl till now. A lot. You can't tell me that it's not a swing and a miss draft when you have 10 draft picks and not one of them played on Friday. Most of the free agent decisions he made backfired. One of them he already brought back in Fred Johnson. We might be bringing back Darius Slay. A lot of swing and misses from Howie. Maybe Ja'Cory Bennett's just not good. It's going to be hard to ride that Flyers train. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm going to try, though. If Slay isn't on a team by 3, then he's a free agent. Is that today? Yeah. So we'll see. I think there will be a few playoff teams that take a swing at him. The Colts could. They just lost Sauce Gardner for 2-3 weeks. Detroit will with Terry and Arnold. We will. I'm not sure about anybody else, but at least a couple teams will put in claims. Most of the Flyers' minor league hype is complete garbage, but there's a better chance they hit on Porter Mortone. Maybe. Does Tank not know the playbook or something? I don't know. I doubt that's what it is, though. It's the stubbornness of Kevin Patullo and them not wanting to take Saquon off the field. Like, look, Saquon is your big-ticket item. I get that. But he's ineffective for a multitude of reasons this year. Tank Bigsby had, the Giants game. He had 100 yards, 109 yards, whatever it was. He hasn't even touched the ball 3 times since then. Like, it's ludicrous. You can get him on the field somehow, but yet they won't. It makes no sense to me, Kevin. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure you've liked and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. Hockey season doesn't truly start till March. That is true. Too much Flyer comments there. Next survey question. Who will make the playoffs? Flyers, Sixers, neither. Kid, what's up, man? How you doing today? Both are going to be by the skin of their teeth. Like, I'm enjoying watching the Sixers, too, at this point. Because of the zero expectations I put on them this year. I watched the Sixers game till Hard Knock started, and it was fun last night. Maxey's playing out of his mind. I did try to warn about Bennett. Were you? I know somebody on Twitter was. Maybe you did as well. His were more accumulated in a system with man concepts. He's just not good at passing off coverages at all. Yeah, he just hasn't done it. Look, it is what it is. It was another swing and miss. Thomas Booker, who we traded for him, I don't know what kind of season he's having with the Raiders, but the Raiders suck. His depth would be needed on this defense right now on the D-line. We could have a two-headed beast in the backfield, but we're not. We could go earth, wind, and fire. You go three-headed monster in the backfield. You could give Will Shipley some snaps, too. Actually, Will Shipley had more snaps in the last game against the Bears, snaps on the field, not touches, snaps on the field, than Tank Bigsby did. Make that make sense. Jess says, why the hell is Calcaterra still getting reps as a blocker? He's just horrible, period. But again, swing and miss on Howie, not upgrading the tight end position. Stubbornness from the Eagles organization, continuing to put Calcaterra in situations he's obviously going to fail. The tight end position for the Eagles after this season needs to be stripped down and started all over again. And to mesh well with Cooper Dejean, you have to be ready to swap coverage. It's a fair statement. It's a very fair statement. Coop just needs more outside snaps in-game to make Carter trade worthwhile. That's fair. And that might be the ultimate case on what they do. Is Carter's not a free agent. I think we still own his rights I think he's still only in year 2 of his 3-year deal he signed. So we might have Carter next year, and that might be the route they go next year. Maybe they don't draft a young cornerback early in the draft, and they go Carter, Coop, and Quinyon with Mac McWilliams still as the other guy. Vlad isn't even totally awful, which is saying something for a Flyers goalie. Vlad's the number 1 goalie, without a doubt. I don't think I would say that Dallas has made smarter decisions than Howie this year. Didn't think I would say that. I mean, look, at least maybe not at the start of the season, but now at this point, yeah. I would say arguably from winning the Super Bowl till now, this has been the worst stretch for Howie Roseman since he was banished to the equipment locker room. There's been way too many swing and misses for him this year. I don't understand why the Eagles more commonly use 3 wide receivers, start using 2 running backs. We did like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. We had Tank and Saquon on the field a couple times, and it worked. Successful plays. They haven't gone back to it since. We wanted to see more play action. The Eagles run play action pass, second lowest in the league. Bottom 5 in pre-snap measure. They love those 3 wide receivers on the field. They love it. It's not necessary. Really speaks to how well Quinyon has been coached and how much he has learned at this level. So hard to banjo coverage with consistency. I think it's what I think is the fact that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 Eagles in top 10 in Pro Bowl voting. Yet somehow Quinyon Mitchell is not. Quinyon Mitchell shouldn't even be considered for the Pro Bowl. Quinyon Mitchell should be all-pro first team. Quinyon Mitchell should be Defensive Player of the Year talk. He won't because he doesn't get the interceptions. But, man, Quinyon Mitchell, I made this joke at the start of the year or somewhere early in the season, and I don't think anybody even laughed or nobody hated me for it, but no one, confirmed it either. I said beginning of the year that Quinyon Mitchell was going to go down as the greatest cornerback in Eagles history. And I know that's not a knock on Eric Allen or any of the other great cornerbacks we've had. But Quinyon Mitchell is that damn talented. We can't draft a young cornerback in the first or second. They need to put that to O-line. They need O-line. Maybe if they move on from A.J. Brown, a wide receiver, a tight end, more defensive line help. There's a lot that they need. A lot of people say they want a cornerback, but they don't understand the Eagles are not drafting a cornerback in the first 3 rounds next year. I agree. O-line should be our focus this draft. Lane is probably retiring. He said originally 2 years, but this year's been tough on him. There is a chance he does retire. Or he plays one of those roles where he retires, and then if his replacement doesn't work out, he comes out of retirement. Maybe.
I mean, the numbers don't lie. 15-25 now when Lane Johnson doesn't start in his career for the Eagles. It's not good. I forget what it was. Someone split it up and did it since Doug Peterson. So since our success, because we weren't successful early in his career, since Doug Peterson, it's even worse. Since he really rounded into form as the best right tackle in football, it's even worse when Lane Johnson doesn't play. But again, Stoutland and Patullo and Nick Sirianni need to devise a game plan that helps the offensive line. Having two running backs or a fullback back there can help your offensive line. I'm sorry. I know the Eagles haven't been playing well lately, but man, oh man, this fan base is nothing but a bunch of miserables. You can't live and die on every game. Well, see, there's two ways of thought on that. All right, first and foremost, I agree. Way too much negative for a 8-4 team going up arguably one of the best or hardest schedules I've ever seen. Okay? We're going to get to the schedule in a second, too. But I do love living with my emotions on my sleeve. I do love living in the moment. And living in the moment is getting frustrated when shit don't go well. All right? Now, there's two different ways. There's living in the moment then looking at a big picture. And I do both. But yeah, some fans take things too far, a.k.a. the egging of Kevin Patullo's house was taking it too far. I suspect KP had planned on having Ben Van Sumeren. Well, yeah. And Johnny Wilson, yeah, but we lost Ben Van Sumeren and Johnny Wilson 3 months ago. You can't lose your fullback and your fifth wide receiver, and then that is what just ends and ruins the season. Okay? They're not that important to the game plan that you can't replace them or find a pivot when you lose them. Fans take all the fun out of it. Well, I think being emotional in the moment is what makes, it's like, it's entertainment. Enjoy it. It's a wild ride. Enjoy the roller coaster. Losing Ben Van Sumeren out of the gate is an underappreciated story. It's fine. I get it. But if losing Ben Van Sumeren is the excuse that Kevin Patullo needs to have, then he shouldn't even be in football, let alone in the NFL. Yeah, Big Al. If losing Ben Van Sumeren and Johnny Wilson breaks the season, that means we were doomed to begin with. This is not a knock on those guys. I had high hopes for Ben Van Sumeren. I hoped that from what I saw in training camp, that Johnny Wilson was going to have a jump forward this year. But man, they weren't that important. The whole playbook was used based on having a fullback. Yeah, and you got a fullback in Cam too. This is the NFL. Every game in the NFL is equivalent to approximately 10 MLB games. If the Phillies went on a 20-game losing streak, the whole season is in question. Yeah. Being emotional in the moment is fine, but we could do a better job with the sudden thought filter. Now, the sudden thought filter is what the emotion is. The question is, can we, after the fact, take a step back and realize that it was just in the moment? I don't know what Eagles fans thought, but when you're in the Super Bowl champ, every game becomes an explanation. Absolutely. We've talked about that a lot this year. We're getting everyone's, best. Everybody wants to knock out. What do you always say? To be the champs, you got to beat the champs. Everybody wants to beat the champs. And we've already beaten a bunch of teams that have Super Bowl aspirations. The Rams, the Chiefs, the Bucks. Well, I don't know if the Bucks still do or not. The Lions, the Packers. The 8 wins that the Eagles have are a who's who of top-end NFL teams. It's just these last 2 games have looked pretty brutal. And that we don't see that end in sight. Cam Latu, nobody even knew who Ben Van Sumeren was before last year. You couldn't have picked him out of lineup. You still probably couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Eagles fans thought, why can't we be the Chiefs recently or the Patriots 2 decades ago? We did, and we want to. And I still think we can. Because in my book, the Eagles are not missing the playoffs. No matter how bad it's gotten, We are not missing the playoffs. Not at all. That is a guarantee. I truly think it was a big part of the initial struggle in the first half of the season is KP's inability to pivot after the bye that will wind up costing his job. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, okay, you want to use the injuries to Ben Van Sumeren and Johnny Wilson as an excuse or a problem? That's fine. For a week, for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But 12 weeks into the season? Yeah, I don't think so. That's not how, that doesn't cut it to me. Getting everyone's best shot, doesn't matter who they play. It's just different. Eagles fans have to change their thought process. I agree. I agree with everything you say, except for the fact that I do enjoy wearing my emotions on my sleeve like that. What's good, AK? How you doing? Hope you are well this beautiful morning. I knew who Ben Van Sumeren was before last season. I can't pick him out of a lineup, though. Yeah, I was being a little sarcastic with that. Informed fans like Nooms knew who Ben Van Sumeren is. Yeah, well, that's because he was a Michigan guy. Thoughts on Simmons' comments about playing for the Sixers for free? I don't want him on my team for free. Look, I don't know why Ben Simmons would even say that. Like, is Ben Van Sumeren and Ben Simmons? I'm a little confused here. I don't know what to make of Ben Simmons' comments. Because didn't he also say try to get his mind and body right? So is he still not healthy? The dude's never healthy. The Sixers do not need a distraction. They've got enough distractions with Joel Embiid and Paul George in there. Will they play or won't they play? Ben Simmons would create such a circus coming back to Philly that you just don't need that. So my realistic, not overreaction statement would be Ben Simmons isn't needed because of the distraction. A big body defender that can run the floor, in theory, what Ben Simmons at his peak was good at would fit right in with the Sixers team. A running team that wants to get up and down the court, that needs lanky guys that could play D. Absolutely. His basic skill set, when healthy, would help this team. But I don't want anything to do with the headache that would come with it. I'm just countering, Rob. Philly is Eagles and then the other three sports. We want dogs. We want them to leave nothing on the field. They didn't even show up the last 2 weeks. I agree. Simmons is a parasite. We don't need more parasites. We definitely don't. Ben Van Sumeren was on his way to having a Trey Burton-type impact on this offense. The tight end situation was a big part of the plan, and Dallas Goedert needs to be kept in the block. It sucks. Man, Ben Van Sumeren really had a big impact on the season. Simmons is the NBA's version of Ryan Leaf. I don't know. Maybe Ryan Leaf had a better career. I don't know. Ben Simmons can pass, and that's all. And he plays defense. I was at the Sixers game last night. Awesome. It was a good win. I take my daughter to a lot of games. I just didn't know how they're going to have a successful year when their best players are constantly in and out. That's a big problem. Absolutely. But at least you picked a good game to go to. Another great Maxey performance. So I'm glad you got to go. Where did you get good price on tickets? Because I know some days they're having really good deals on tickets. I'm going to make sure I get myself to a game this year. I really want to, but I got to find a game I can afford. But I watched it up till Hard Knock start last night at 9 o'clock. But what a redemption arc Ben could be if he worked out. That would be a redemption story. I do love a good story. I do love a good redemption story. I think Simmons learned his lesson. I don't know if he did. Maybe he needs more money. I don't know. But then why would he ask to play for free? I don't know. We knew we needed a blocking tight end and we didn't get one. We've known we needed a blocking tight end since the Super Bowl ended. And we still don't. I understand we want dogs, so do I, but they're going to lose games. Everyone loses games. It happens. Nobody's jumping off the bandwagon. I just want you to make sure you know, Rob, nobody is jumping off any bandwagon at all. Not at all. Ridley Scott could film the Ben Simmons story starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What? Yeah. Some of the games have been good. I looked up one game and it was like really pricey on the secondary market. I don't know. But it's good. It's good to watch the Sixers. I enjoy watching the Sixers again. I have no expectations for the Sixers. I do not want Ben Simmons back on the Sixers. Simmons doesn't learn what in the last 4 seasons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It would probably be the best role of Rock's career. Losing games is fine if you play your heart out and compete. They aren't giving 100% right now. That's the issue. No one would be in this room if they were off a bandwagon. Exactly. Being in this room and being in this chat daily tells me you care. This chat cares. And I know. And there's a difference between real fans and the casual fans. The people that believe everything they see on Facebook, super fan groups as truth. People that still listen to Spike Eskin comparing Jalen Hurts to Ben Simmons and believe everything that nitwit clown Nepo boy says. That's the problem. I didn't get into it with John Kincaid yesterday. But John Kincaid puts something out there. Look, if we're tired of all the clickbait, stop listening to it. But we all share it and talk about it. Because we kind of feel like stuck talking about it. They do what they do for a reason. They still better than us. Yeah, exactly. Panic meter if we lose to the Chargers and Cowboys beat the Lions. If we lose to the Chargers and the Cowboys beat the Lions, Jess, the panic meter will go up substantially next week. Absolutely. But we will also have to understand that we got the Raiders after that and 2 Washington games. So it's not the end. But the panic meter will go up. And the Chargers are no cook or cakewalk. They're going to be a tough game. This is the chat that cares. We always care. The ratings kind of say otherwise. The ratings are what? You already had The Rock in Rampage, which was god-awful. Was it? I never saw it. There's emotion and critical thinking all mixed together, and we listen to one another and take nothing personal. A couple people take things personal in this chat. I'm not naming names, but 1 or 2 individuals take things very personal. They're giving 100%. They're just not playing well. It's sport. It happens. I mean, maybe. Maybe it's that they're giving 100%. The other team's 100% is just better because they're giving us. I mean, we've had the bullseye on our back the entire season. It's not about losing. It's about how you lose, and they're losing in ugly ways. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I'm being realistic. This team sucks. You just hate hearing it because it's true. I mean, that might be correct as well. Most fans are not jumping off. They're just pissed off. That's what I am. I'm pissed off. Because I spent a lot of hard-earned energy and money and time supporting the team, and I want 100%. 100% accurate statement. Right there. I'm already mentally ready for this fan meltdown. Don't worry. I'll be here for you all. Oh, man. Chargers are not a cakewalk. They're unpredictable, though. They are very unpredictable. I can't believe we're still short of. We're sitting at 899 subscribers. We need one more subscriber. Come on. Like, subscribe, share. Are you talking about me? What? What am I talking about you? What was said about you? You haven't taken anything personal, have you? Really? It's the push for 101. Yeah, look, it's 900 will be great, but really the number's 1,000. That's what I need. Spike Jackson, as per usual, is 5 years late to the party. There was way more parallel between Carson Wentz and Simmons than his current dude, there wasn't even that. Carson Wentz led a team to a Super Bowl too. All right? Spike Eskin is just a nitwit clown. And part of the problem, Rob talking about fans jumping off the bandwagons, and it's the people that listen to the Spikes of the world, the same types of people that listen to the Skip Paylesses and Dan Sillymans and Chris Simpletons of the world. I need a good Spike nickname that drive this negative narrative, and they all believe it, so then fans start getting negative. Fans always want to point to effort when they lose. Sometimes you just don't perform well. Sometimes the other team's X's and O's are just better planned out than yours. It happens. The last good Rock movie, probably Walking Tall. Walking Tall was fun. Was that before or after the one with Sean William Scott? That one was pretty solid too. Those early rock, cheesy, low-budget movies were all good. I don't know if there's a good rock movie or not. I'd have to think about it. Like the what? Who like cold tomato soup? That I don't even know where this conversation is coming from. It's not the losses, but how they lost. Absolutely. The Rock is Nick Cage in everything, yeah. Except he's making a lot more money than Nicolas Cage ever did. Optics, yeah. Spike might be his nickname. I don't know what his real name is. I don't know anything about him. But I need a bad nickname. The tape shows players taking plays off. Look at the one throw to AJ that everyone has seen. There are other players on film taking plays off. Self-preservation. Last year, it was team over self. It's a valid opinion. It is. Spike compares Jalen to Simmons because that all he knows, one trick pony, not even good at that trick. Yeah, like if you're gonna make a crazy comparison, at least make it somewhat arguable, right? That's the rundown. That was the rundown. That was a good one. That was fun. Fun movie. Oh my God, what aren't you guys understanding? It's not about losing. These guys haven't performed well for 14 weeks. You think shit's just going to roll over and things are magically going to correct itself? I don't think anybody thinks it's going to correct itself magically. But I think what we're doing is talking about how the track record says they could fix it. There is a path forward for this team. This is still mostly the same team that won a Super Bowl. There are ways to fix it. Despite not playing well for 14 weeks, they're still the number 3 seed in the conference. They still got 3 very easy winnable football games. Ben Johnson designed a very good misdirection plan and a good number of counters. Where's the misdirection on the Eagles offense? To me, that really drives me crazy. The lack of misdirection, the lack of motion, the lack of creativity in our offense. I think that's why I always preferred individual sports. That way it's on me, top to bottom. Team means energy. To improve yourself needs to be, yeah. That's why I love golf. It's an individual sport. Tennis, individual. Spike is the equivalent of the kid who grew up in a mansion but wants everyone to think he lived in the ghetto. Yeah, that's very fair. If Hurts starts to use his legs more and that offense still looks bad, then I think the offense situation becomes panic-worthy. Yeah, I still don't know what to make. I still don't know what to make of this Jalen doesn't want to run situation. Whether it's true or not. Obviously, the numbers point to it potentially being true. Obviously, the numbers, the fact that he runs so much less means there's something to it. I don't understand. Like, I need more confirmation whether he's really saying I don't want to run or not. When Nick Sirianni spoke about it, talked about how they are trying to preserve him for the whole season. That could be him just covering for Jalen, which he does do for his players often. Or maybe that's a cumulative conversation that the entire team has had. That they want Jalen to be healthy come playoff time. Please tell me where the track record is proven after 14 weeks. I'm talking about the track record over the last 3 or 4 years. Because this is literally the same team for the most part. This can be fixed, but the problem is you have to acknowledge that the problem is that that is true too. Do I believe Hurts should run more? That's such a weird question to me. No, not weird, like, hold on. That's such a tough question for me. Okay? Because in years past, I always talked about how I didn't like how many design runs there were for Jalen. Because he wasn't going to last very long with all the hits he was taking. I wanted less tush pushes even last year. I wanted to protect him. Okay? But then you see this year the lack of runs and how it's affecting the offense. And you want to see more of it again. Well, I do. So I don't know. Should he run more? Probably. Should he have to run more? No. I think it's such a weird question to answer because I don't know why he's not running more. I need more information than a clickbait social media reporter to tell me he heard Jalen's not running more because he said he doesn't want to. That's what I need. Till then, I can't really truly answer that comment. You got to have the knowledge in the room to fix the problem, and it's plain and simple. No one in the room has the knowledge to fix it. That was the case; it would have been fixed, and that's fair. You know, before you got in the chat, people are blaming Ben Van Sumeren and how that loss affected the game plan for the season. If you're not smart enough how to overcome the loss of Ben Van Sumeren, you shouldn't be in football. That we can agree on 100%. There's no reason why the same issues are still around 14 weeks into the season. Bears don't have the same offensive line. It was very reminiscent of the Commanders in the 80s and 90s and much of the run game. Not all, but a lot of it. The problem with sports reporting is it has become less about reporting ethics. Your buddy at the bar saying it is not reporting the story. Yeah, exactly. Do I like Carpaccio? Why are we asking me about what does this have to do with anything? Ben Johnson also set up plays to use against the Eagles for later in the game. The tight end was sent in motion. Ben Johnson just proved again, great offensive mind. Knows how to design an offense. Knows what he's doing out there. The number of design runs have been little light, but not awful. He's not taking runs in broken plays as he used to. He definitely isn't running as much at all. 23, they didn't turn her around, and that was in the last 4 years. The other 2 years, the team was functional and had no issues. That's my point. You guys need to open your eyes. Look, then what's your answer? What's your solution? What's your point? The Eagles stink? They're still 8-4. They've still beaten the Rams, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Lions, the Packers. There are problems, but I don't think it's as bad as it might not be as good as we think, but it might also not be as bad as you're trying to make it out to be. Have we even run a single tush-push variation this year? We didn't like training camp or in preseason. That's it. I do wonder sometimes what would happen if teams could trade fan bases. Why? No one likes cold tomato soup unless you're a psychopath. Thought maybe you knew the Saturday Night skit, Phil. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. You're just completely random, as always in the chat. Always with the complete randomness. Guys, we're well past the top of the hour here. If you haven't liked yet, what the fuck? Why haven't you? Like, subscribe, share, please. I would have preferred to hear Spike comparing Howard Eskin to Ben Simmons. Yeah. Yes, we did run one variation of tush push for a touchdown. I know very early in the season or preseason we did. We aren't collapsing. Mala said that this year is nothing like 23. Yeah, I mean, I've already commented on Jordan Mailata saying that, and I actually was a big knock on 23, in my opinion. You know, on how he phrased his comments. The coaching technique is there this year. It wasn't in 23. It's a big knock on that 23 coaching staff, that's for sure. I ain't going to lie about that. Big deal what Jordan Mailata said. But anyway, I don't know what the answer is. I think the only thing we could do is sit here and just let it play out. It's too late in the season to make too many drastic changes. It's basically, how will it play out? That's it. We don't know. The talent is there on this Eagles team. Will they figure it out? Well, you're not going to see Willie Lampkin play because they didn't activate him last week, so he is on IR for the rest of the season. I thought they would have found a way to activate him maybe for jumbo packages, but obviously, he's a rookie, first off, an undrafted rookie. He spent the whole season on IR. I don't know even if they activated him, whether he would have even have been able to get on the field. According to my numbers, we hit 900 subscribers. Motherfucker, that's awesome. Congratulations to myself for hitting 900 subscribers. Yeah, but I get it. I mean, I would have liked to have seen something different, but Willie Lampkin is not going to be available. The variation of tush push was a few weeks ago. Saquon, halfback. How do I not remember that? What game was that? Seems to have gone over my head. I also remember back in 22, the Vikings were 12-4. and the worst winning team, and they proved that losing to the Giants in the wild card were literally, look, I get that, and I think you're fair in your criticism of this team. I guess I'm just hopeful. Obviously, I'm blinded on Jalen Hurts, but I guess, yes, losing in the first round, the wild card round, would be a disappointment. But I also will trust the success of this team, that when they get to the playoffs, that maybe they flip a switch. Maybe I'm naive for thinking that. When your O-line is weak, you run RPOs and more motion to take. Yet they don't do it. Bottom 5 in the NFL in pre-snap motion. That doesn't help. Definitely a knock on 23. On Brian Johnson. But the thing is, with the knock on 23, Nick Sirianni was here in 23 as well. That's right. Like, subscribe, share. That's right, James. It looks like we hit 900, which is a big deal. Now we're only 100 away. If Hurts is self-preserving for the playoffs, then I think we are okay. It's the continuity that is lacking. We had so few pre-snap penalties. Now it's a different story. The penalties, the discipline, it's as big of an issue, if not bigger, than the injuries on the offensive line. I mean, nobody's talking about penalties after the Bears game because it wasn't 14 like the week before against the Cowboys. But still, 7 penalties is too much. We may be getting Lane back December 14th. That's my birthday, December 14th. That would be a fantastic birthday present if we get Lane back. If Lane can come back at 90% health, that improves everything. I remember from last year. I don't remember what game this year. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't remember either. I've said it before, and I stand by it, that this team is doing itself a disservice by not finding out what McKee would do with this offense, as he or Hurts will undoubtedly be traded. Hurts will not be traded. There is a 0%, a 0.00000% chance that Hurts gets traded. There's a much likelier chance that Tanner McKee does get traded. But again, and I'll stand by it, that you do more harm than good by benching Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is your franchise. You cannot bench him without risk losing him. Listen, man, that's fine if you all want to sit here and live on blind faith. I don't think we're living on blind faith. I think we all understand what could go wrong here and what is going wrong. Okay? We know that we see all the problems that you see. We've talked about all the problems that you see. But I don't want to go into this week's game miserable as a miserable because of him. I'm going to go in hoping for the best, prepared for the worst. I am going in, that's a perfect way to say it. I'm going in hoping for the best, prepared for the worst. So let's be honest, you blind spot for Hurts is deserved based on results and not necessarily on stats and production. It's fine. I have no problem admitting that I have a blind loyalty to Jalen Hurts. He's my guy. I will go down with the ship on him. And I think he's earned the right for me to go down on the ship with him. All right? The problem is that Kevin Patullo was handed the keys to a sports car. Yeah, it's like me. I don't know how to drive stick. I don't get behind a stick shift car. Kevin Patullo's ill-prepared. Plain and simple. The greatest people in the world were born on December 14th. Your kid and me. There we go. December's a busy. I kick off the busiest birthday schedule in the history of the world. Warfire. Let me give you this. Let me give you this little one here, okay? My birthday's on the 14th, okay? Exactly 7 days later is my brother-in-law. 7 days later than that is my father-in-law. And then 7 days after that is my sister, okay? And mixed in there, there's 4 more birthdays. But me, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister, all 4 of us, 7 days apart birthdays. And in that 4-week span, literally in the Stiefel Slazak family households, there's like literally 475 birthdays that we have to celebrate. But it all kicks off with me, the GOAT. Be lucky you're not looking at the colonoscopy images to make sure the report gets a chart. Oh, man. Hurts to Pittsburgh in the offseason. Not a chance. McKee to Pittsburgh, maybe. I think there's going to be about 5 teams that are calling Howie. on Tanner McKee. Hurts is not going to Pittsburgh. I don't want to become a Pittsburgh fan. I hope Aaron Rodgers stays in Pittsburgh so that miserable, that D-bag can continue to bring that city down. McKee is going to get us decent compensation. I feel we could get a late first round pick for sure for Tanner McKee. Tomlin might even be in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Tomlin's going to get fired, finally. It definitely seems to be trending that way. Not miserable, realistic from now on. These guys have to prove to me that they want it. And look, and I get that. They played some heartless football. And I am not disagreeing with you on anything. Just how we're perceiving the rest of the path is it, right? I'm just looking at the rest of the season differently than you. I'm just going in open-minded. But I get it. These guys prove that they are the most lazy team over the last couple weeks. Barkley doesn't have a pass attempt this year. I remember Gainwell's last year. Any chance when offensive players keep stressing the word execution, they're referring to the quarterback without actually saying his name? They're either referring to the quarterback or the coaches. Or both. You know, you watch Hard Knocks last night, and everyone wants to talk about the Devontae Smith pass and play. And they talked it out on the sideline. They weren't hiding from each other like the TV cameras make you think. There was definitely a communication, execution error there. Devontae and Jalen both said they were wrong. Jalen Hurts took the majority of the blame. I don't know. None of those guys would have Super Bowl trophies and rings if it wasn't for Jalen, though, also. Did Phil just say that he's going down? I did not say it. I did not say that. Stop. He has earned the right for me to go down on you guys. Phrasing does matter. Words do matter. I do say that. If you have Jalen on your fantasy team, then trade him. I stopped playing fantasy football years ago. The only fantasy football I do is my little nephew. He's got a league, and you know, it's him and all his uncles and his dad. So aunts and uncles and his dad. So, and it's free. It's just for family bragging rights. But outside of that, I don't do fantasy. We got to stop. I agree, Kevin. And I just kind of wasn't letting myself get fired up on the Tanner talk today. The McKeisters aren't going to rile me up today. We've spent a lot of time this week on the Tanner talk, and I just don't want to do it. It absolutely could get a first for McKay. It's a fair take. I think on AK is misunderstanding my takes on his takes. I don't disagree with what he's saying for the most part. I really don't. It's just how I'm looking at the rest of the season is different. There any chance Hurts has not seen wide open players on a lot of plays? Only asked because Baldwin's breakdown of film shows it regularly. He does. He has missed more guys this year than he has his entire career combined. Absolutely. Now, could it be that he's regressing? Maybe. Could it be the lack of faith in Patullo? Possibly. Could it be because the offensive line is crashing down on him more frequently than normal? Of course it could be. There are so many factors going into it. And Jalen Hurts would not tell you that he's not at fault for the season, how it's playing out. All about bashing this team and calling out the negatives, but I cut the bullshit at McKee. I like the kid, yeah. We would be. We don't know what we would be with him. That's the thing. Late first, early second, absolutely. And I take it. You could definitely get an early second-round pick for Tanner McKee. I think a team that just misses out on the playoffs or gets knocked, like there could be a team in that like 2022 range that maybe gives you a first for him. When they talk about execution, they're talking about the players as a whole. I think so, but they could be talking about Jalen. I don't know. Yeah, they all do. There's a lot more teams than that need a quarterback. I would say Pittsburgh does. Cleveland might. Tennessee might. The Colts might. I don't know about that, but maybe. The Raiders, yes. The Cardinals. No, they gave Sam Darnold 3 years. The Falcons need a quarterback. For sure they do. The Vikings might already be willing to move on from J.J. McCarty. You bully kids. No, I don't bully them. I just win. It's not bullying. Was this past Super Bowl one of the single best defensive performances ever in a Super Bowl? I mean, it was great. We've argued for a year that the defense as a whole should have gotten the MVP. Do you think any fan base and their media are as clickbaity as Philly? Maybe. Maybe we don't know it because we don't say it. But the national media doesn't get clicky with any other city. Maybe the locals do, but the national media doesn't. Philly gets the most clickbaity shit from the national media. This show isn't as wholesome as I. Oh man, we got some problems here today. I'm just tired of the narratives that we need Hurts to win. We need AJ to win. We need this guy to win. We need that. We fired Doug, traded Wentz, and still got back to 2 Super Bowls. The team's more important than any one individual, and that's for sure. Do you feel like you wear blinders when it comes to Hurts and not seeing the broader picture? I've admitted 1,000 times I wear blinders on him, okay? But I do it very objectively because I have criticized him plenty when time is called for it. And what's the broader picture that I'm not seeing? The broader picture is why I have blinders. The broader picture of him being leading this team in the greatest run in Eagles history is why I have the blinders. Maybe the blinders stop me from criticizing him enough on a day-to-day, game-to-game basis. But big pictures, there's a reason why I have those blinders. Yeah, I mean, the media is just toxic towards Philly, too, in general. The Eagles did get their Week 16 game bounced from primetime. We will now play a 5 p.m. football game on a Saturday. So no back-to-back home games this year, a 3 p.m. Friday game, and a 5 p.m. Saturday game. The Eagles have just been straight up flocked on the schedule this year as well. Difficult schedule. No help with the scheduling and the times of games. Let's talk about that, too. Of course Slay would want back in. Best chance to get back. Foles won a Super Bowl here and a Super Bowl MVP and never really did much here or anywhere after that. Could that be the same thing going on with Hurts possibly? There's a difference. I mean, Foles was a great backup. Foles was one of the greatest backup quarterbacks of all time. Foles was never meant to be a starter. I know he had success the 1 year with Chip Kelly, but that was, I think, more Chip Kelly was unpredictable with the offense at that point. Hurts is a much bigger leader, broad picture than Foles ever was. I don't know if that came out right. Clickbaity means lying to get views. Everything Philly fans talk about comes out pure passion. Yeah? The Super Bowl was a result of Casey being forced to play at guard, at left tackle, and weakening 2 positions. Major foundation weakening. Cooney was back at guard for Chicago and was borderline awesome. Easy, though, guaranteeing 100%, Phil. I watched people say the same thing about Doug and Wentz, and 2 months later they were gone. Nothing is ever set in stone. Howie has proven that. Look, and you want to criticize people, we got to criticize Howie as well, though. Okay? We definitely should. We did not win last year because an O-lineman for the Chiefs played in a different position. We dominated on both sides. Nobody likes us, and I do care. That's the thing that annoys me. The nobody likes us and we don't care thing, I hate it because I do care. I want to be liked. I want respect. Muchas gracias, Big Al. Thank you very much. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Howie has proven if you are a cancer in the locker room or dysfunction, yeah, absolutely. And I'll be curious to see how Howie pivots after the season, no matter what the end result of the season is. They took Philly off of primetime because Washington has had a disappointing season. The game isn't really meaningful for the division right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, we have a 3 o'clock game, a 5 o'clock game, no home games back-to-back, back and forth across the country. Like the way the schedule, it's like the algorithm was typed up to fuck us with the schedule. Nick Foles for OC. I don't know if he's got any intentions of coaching. Nick Foles, thank you again. Much appreciated. 2 times today from you, Big Al. I appreciate that. Nick Foles for OC, is weird because it's Nick Foles for OC is like me asking for Jimmy Rollins to be a coach on the Phillies. Like, it sounds good, but these guys haven't talked about coaching before. I don't know if he wants to coach in football, Nick Foles. I think after the league failed to get the tush-push ban, they decided they would punish the Eagles any way they can. The calls strongly go against the Eagles, ticky-tack, blatant. Yeah, absolutely. And I've bitched about the tush-push for over a year now, about how the Eagles try too hard to get to the tush-push. I almost want it banned at this point, just so we stop trying to run it. I'm sorry, bro, but the refs have been ass all year long in every game, not just ours. And that's true. That's the other point. The refs and officiating football period is bad. We do see more about how skewed it is against the Eagles, but I'm sure it's skewed against a lot of teams as well. Howie has to rebound. Howie 100% has to rebound. Howie Roseman missed a lot this offseason. He's got plenty of time to fix it, AK in the sense like he's not going to lose his job. But, man, he's got work to do. Start Foles at quarterback coach. Yeah. Go get Foles and Josh McCown, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator. I really think Frank Reich will be the guy here next year. I really do. I would love to have Nick in the building. Backups usually make the best coaches. Same thing with catchers in baseball. Backup catchers make great coaches or managers because they see so much more, for sure. Refs have been awful across the board. Officiating in general, I think there's a conversation to be had. We've tried to start it. How has officiating always been bad? And we just now have so much more access to it with social media that we break it down more, that we have instant replay at our fingers more because of that. So maybe there's something to that. Or maybe it's just straight up gotten worse. I don't know. The problem is that we overuse it. If we ran it like salt and not as the main, you might have, figured out. Exactly. Is it possible, like Tom Brady, a 6th-round pick that nobody expected? Again, McKee, anytime you try to put McKee and Brady in any argument, you just lose validation. Dude, have you ever been – where have you been? All I've done all season is criticize how we for all the mediocre moves he made when you're trying to repeat. You're a little late. I've been very critical of Howie Roseman. Again, there's a difference between being critical and asking him to be fired or anything like that. But I've been very critical. He misread a lot on the draft. He wanted to draft linemen. He missed them. His draft picks aren't playing. Every player he let go would have been used here. Jacorian Bennett, Thomas Booker. Been plenty of criticism from him. I blame Douglas coming back. He brought the Jets stink with him. Yeah. We did lose another executive, Dave Caldwell. Don't know who he is, but he's one of Howie's top, assistant execs. Left to go be the general manager of the University of Florida football team. So we did lose another guy in our office. 60-year-old men trying to run and keep up with elite athletes is pure comedy. What? Oh, the refs. Gotcha. Reich will definitely be the next OC here with his former Stanford quarterback, Tanner McKee. I never thought of that, actually, Rick. Quarterback coach is a good thought. Yeah. Well, Purdy has been a pretty decent career so far, and he's a 7th rounder. Yeah. Nobody expected Brady to become Brady. Don't forget. Look, great. If you think McKee could be the next Brady, cool. Let him go be it with somebody else. I'm not risking Jalen Hurts to find out if maybe there's a 1% chance that he's the next Tom Brady. That's all I'm saying. I'm not risking that. I'm not taking that chance. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm naive, but I'm not risking Jalen Hurts to find out if maybe Tanner McKee is the next coming. I'm just not doing that. Not a chance in the world that I do that. We did get to 900 subscribers today, guys. Not bad. 24 likes on the video, too. Has Hurts reached the ceiling? I think it's too soon to tell. The dude's just about to turn 27. The dude hasn't even hit his prime yet. The dude's had a different offensive coordinator every year in the NFL and college. No, it's not. I wouldn't be against trying out Josh McCown as our OC. McCown has been on 14 teams, and he's been coaching now for about 5 years. I don't know if he's called plays yet anywhere. The only knock on McCown as an OC is, has he called plays? The next knock on McCown would be he's eventually going to be a head coach probably. I want a guy that's going to be around for a little while. Hurts ceiling, and I'm a critic, it ring, isn't it? What? People might laugh and scoff when I say McKee, but a lot of people are going to be wrong when this kid becomes a great quarterback. No, I don't think anybody doubts it. He's got some talent. But you're willing to move on from a sure thing for a maybe. That's all the criticism is coming from. That's why there's criticism there. You don't move on from a sure thing for a maybe. You just don't. Anyway, we're going to get ready and wrap this baby up, I think. He didn't. Well, he wasn't the play caller. He started the season not calling plays. So it was a mid-season change. So 1.5 seasons, up back-to-back, back and a half. His ceiling is Super Bowl ring again and again and again. And it will always be that. I think he could be good. We have a known 2 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years. Exactly. Hurts was, I was very high on Jalen Hurts. I've gone back and listened to my first podcast I ever did was the day after the draft ended. And I was very high on Jalen Hurts and very pissed that he came to Philly because there was no path for him to start here. And I know that's going to lead you to say you gave up on Wentz for Hurts. I get it. I'm not moving on from Hurts. Let McKee go be a stud for New Orleans. Cool. Mitchie Poo coming in overtime. That means I can't wrap up the show if Mitchie Poo just got here. I guess not. I guess I got to stick around for a few more minutes. We just hit it mid-show. 100 away. 69 for you, but 100 away. Just validate the take just so we stop? No. I will never compromise on that. Isn't every NFL player and coach's ceiling for any season? Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it was. I don't know if people laughed, so to speak. What has McKee really done to show? Yeah, exactly. He has done nothing, Kevin. Nothing. He's done nothing. I'm sorry, man, but as long as we keep winning, OCs are going to fly off the board. Absolutely agree. The thing is, if you get an older coach, Frank Reich, not saying Brian Dable, but a Brian Dable type, where they've got to rebuild their reputation, you at least have the chance that they'll be around for 2, 3, 4 years. If they want stability in the OC position, they're probably going to keep Kevin Patullo next year. 25 likes. Yes, we've done well with them this week. McKee and his sample size. Yeah, you got to give context to the sample size, okay? A majority of that was in a Week 18 game against the bad Giants backups. All right? Just remember that. Who did he play to do that? McKee has done nothing yet. You're saying the Eagles can get a first-round pick for him because people love the unknown of a quarterback. Thank you. I got this from Fanatics, part of a huge haul I got earlier in the year. I like this Sixers shirt. Got a lot of nice shirts. The only problem with Fanatics products, Mitch Pooh, is where they put the tags. Always in weird, awkward spots. Okay, and you're willing to give up on him because you're biased against him. Exactly. I wanted to ask that question, too. Tanner hasn't done a single thing in the NFL. How the hell are you getting a second or a first? Because you know how people overreact. It's a quarterback-driven league. They're going to see what Rick sees, and that's the quarterback rating and stuff, and not look at the fact that it was backups and be like, all right, we need a quarterback. That's why so many – why did Trey Lance get drafted in the first round? Why did Justin Fields get drafted in the first round? Why did Zach Wilson get drafted number 3 overall? Why did Jamarcus Russell get drafted number 1? It's because teams take chances on quarterbacks. We don't need to take a chance. We already have our quarterback. What was McKee draft originally? I think it was 6th round, I think. McKee's mystery is what will get us the big compensation, but we don't need to take that chance on him. I think you're worried McKee will do good if given the chance and your beloved Hurts will be benched. No. I'm worried about when he doesn't do well and shit hits the fan, and then you have to go back to Hurts. And what does that do? Not giving anything but a 5th or a 6th up for him. Oh, I mean, I agree with you on that. But we know that's not how the NFL operates, though. Okay? Let's go for Archie Manning. F. Hurts. I mean, yeah, exactly. Let's tank it all for Manning, right? We spent way too much time on McKee versus Hurts this week. It really is nauseating. It really is nauseating, the amount. See, I disagree. I think teams absolutely will do it because they're. I'm not saying it's right to do it, and I've always said that I think teams overspend on quarterbacks. Yeah, it's fine. I get it. Maybe we do, but what do you do if we don't? Yeah, I don't watch college football or much of it, but from what I've read online, Arch might not even go in the draft this year. He might stay in college another year. Anyway, guys, I got to wrap it up. Time to close this baby down for the day. I'll have the check down later today. Maybe I'll put a little Sixers video together. We'll see what other rumors and grumblings and rumblings are out there. But, guys, if you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't shared, onward and upward, 100 away from 1,000, guys. Let's keep this going in the right direction here. If all we get from McKee is a 4th, then that's still absolutely. A 4th would be great. I'm telling you right now, if we get a 2nd or 1st for Tanner McKee, I'll come on the show and promote that is the craziest thing. Dude, I'm not disagreeing that it would be crazy. I think it would be awful. And it would force Tanner McKee to have to start on a bad team, which then would make him fail. I get it. It's terrible. But it's what the NFL does. You already got 5-6 minutes of value. I've been giving you guys value every day. I've been giving you guys bonus minutes every day this week. But, I have to have breakfast. I got to have my coffee. Got to shower. Got to put shorts together. Got lots of things to do. I'm a busy retired man. I took 3 naps yesterday as a retired man and still went to bed by 11 o'clock last night. That's just the way it is. I do got to find some more work to do. I got to find something else to do because it does get pretty boring sitting around all day doing nothing. Thank you. We do this every day, Kevin, if you're new and you haven't subscribed. Every day, at least 90 minutes, Monday through Friday. We're live for the entirety of every Eagles game. Plus, I do some pre-recorded videos on the show as well. Make sure you're checking it out every day. Every day, we're here. 3 naps. What are you doing? I just take naps. I don't take naps. I hate naps. But I just dozed off 3 times on my couch yesterday. You aren't even trying. You should have 6 on the board for naps. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to work on content. I am. Sixers have been pretty boring to talk about. Not much happened in Phillies land. I do this, and I do my Eagles check down every day. I'm working on the content. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Everybody have a great day. We will talk tomorrow. But with that, have a great day, guys. Go Birds. Bubbles up.